Hello and welcome to another Unsourced Wall unboxing video. This is kind of a surprise one. I wasn't expecting to do this for another couple of weeks. This came totally out of the blue just this second, and I'm going to try and, parse it out as much as I can. Let's just get this unwrapped and I can dig more into it. Alright, there we go. Let's see. What do we have here? Here we go. Well, this cat's out of the bag from the start. It's the Dark Horse 3 variant Martha Washington action figure. If you don't know anything about Martha Washington, let me just kind of break it down a little bit. She was a character created by Frank Miller and Dave Gibbons. They did about 3 main mini-series of her. Martha Washington Saves the World, Martha Washington Goes to War, and the original Give Me Liberty. Now, they were all collected in a huge trade paperback omnibus, and I think a limited edition hardcover omnibus titled The Life and Times of Martha Washington in the 21st Century, alongside other short issues and stories that they did for backups and one-shots and specials like that. So, in preparation and promotion of Martha Washington Goes to War, which you can see in the background there, it's actually a bonus comic that's already collected in this one, so we don't have to go into that much. They released this action figure based on her primary look in that. Now, what I mean by a 3 variant is that you can see right here, she has a kind of flat cut, very army style, very military style haircut. But in other stories in the Martha Washington series, she has kind of a variety of styles and haircuts, more traditional sort of braids, and near the end of the series, she goes kind of full bald. So with Martha Washington Goes to War, and all these other ones coming out, they released 3 different versions of the action figure, each with one of the primary haircuts. This being the main one, and another bald one where she looks pretty angry, and a braided one where she looks pretty, mellow. I guess so that was pretty fun. It shows the kind of evolution of her as a character. It's a really fine character. I think it's one of my favorite characters that Frank Miller or David Gibbons ever created. It's a really wonderful series, especially the first miniseries. Give Me Liberty is a classic, and also the very last short story is probably one of the sweetest and really, really melancholy and thoughtful little one-shots that Frank Miller has ever done, and he's done quite a few of those, especially for Sin City and the like. But yeah, let's go back to Martha Washington. You can see she comes with a whole bunch of accessories, and, let's try and get this thing open. Alright, here we go. We have the action figure full out, and also the small tie-in comic issue. Comes in this kind of poly bag style thing. And let me just show you the comparison between the two. Yeah, I think the cover's kind of faded a bit. Yeah, it's from a story called Collateral Damage and Logistics. Let me see where those are in here. So it's faithfully reproduced, although I think this one would be nice to have around, just as a spare. But yeah, so if you can see on the fully uncovered box art and cover art, she has a whole bunch of different weapons and is totally decked out 90s style. Now, one of the cool things about the 3 different versions of the action figure outside of the haircut and different expressions is that a few of them come with different weapons. Like, I know one of them comes with a bazooka, another one comes with a very similar looking, but also kind of different, really big gun like this. So I believe the intention was that if you got all 3, you could get her to look somewhere in the vicinity of what she looks like on the cover and box art. But let's do our best with this one and try and get her accessories all put out. Alright, so now we've got that out of the way. We put everything on. She comes with, like I said, the huge rifle, the bandolier, a pouch, a belt, some sort of sling, which I believe is meant to connect to her sword, which she uses a lot of in the comic. That's the only way I can think that even works. Doesn't really go around anything else. And if you notice, she has a little dagger that is connected but molded in a similar way. So I was like, maybe that's meant to connect the sword to her leg. She does have the clearance for it. And also a small pistol that I tucked into her belt, which I think just kind of looks cool. in general, so I don't really mind that. And there's no pegs or anything on the back, so if I were to someday get the more expensive variants of this figure, that would be tricky to really go full comic accurate. But this is the best I can make it, and I think it actually looks pretty good for what it is. One thing about this figure is that it is very stiff. I'm pretty sure this was a resealed box that staples and tape all over it, not in the kind of way that a figure usually comes packed with. So I think it was taken out and it was kind of displayed before being resold and when I bought it. But I don't think it was ever actually posed anything like that. Like the plastic here and the shoulders was basically fused, like it had set in place. Like there was absolutely nothing I could do to really articulate those. And I was actually scared that I was gonna break them, but I put some heat on them. I did some of the warm water, and they eventually eased up. They don't feel loose. They stay in their shape. But that was really tricky. So if you do track one of these down and it feels really, really fragile like that, then be careful, because I've seen instances where like these worn out pegs and little fasteners can't snap off. It happened to a figure of mine I had a while back. And it's also something that I noticed with the legs. I haven't been able to articulate the legs at all. They are thicker plastic. They're more of a chunkier hinge there, and so I'm just really scared about it. I don't really need her to articulate the legs. I'm just gonna have her standing straight, and she looks pretty good at it. She's very stable, and despite only having a shoulder joint, elbow joint, and obviously the groin and the knees and nothing else, she's almost like a statue. Honestly, she actually looks really presentable. It's a really great job they've done, and a really great likeness. It's nice to hold in your hand and to really you'll see. There we go. See, I have no idea what to do with that little lash or whatever it is. I need to fasten that in a little better. But it's a really great figure. I love Morph Washington. Like I've said, I think this is a fantastic series. It's a fantastic comic. If you haven't read it, please try and do so, because it is well worth it. And Morph Washington Goes to War is definitely one of the funnest ones. But Give Me Liberty is a modern day classic. I think that David Gibbons, in one of his little retrospectives, there's commentary for David Gibbons throughout this entire collection, and it's worth picking up for that alone. But he mentions that Frank Miller and him were sort of riding the wave of like the mid 80s post Dark Knight Returns and Watchmen wave, and this is definitely them at the top of their powers. There are pages in this that are so emotional and so pathos ridden that they bring me to tears. Honestly, it is wonderful stuff. Oh, right. And also back to the comic, when I was flipping through it to try and get more references as to where the accessories might go, I noticed like, hey, look, they had a little merchandise page where they were advertising Morph Washington Goes to War, Give Me Liberty, and a PAX baseball cap. I wonder if that's still available. I know that with other chintzy merch like this, they sometimes do a good job of keeping those in print or getting third parties like Graffiti Studios to keep those being produced. So let me check that down. I love that. PAX is such a fun concept, and it's got nice kind of presents on her. It's on this little lash and it's on her shirt, and it's it's really fun. Anyway, that's it for this video. I had a real lot of fun with it. Hope you did listening, and it was really great to finally get a figure of this character. It's definitely going on my collection. I've been trying to get into figures a lot lately, and something like this that really does commemorate and shows how much this character means to me, and to have like a physical presence beyond what's on the page is a delightful thing to experience, and it's nice. So if I ever do end up getting the 3 variants, you can be well assured that I'm going to post the videos of me trying to fit on the bazooka and the extra weapons wherever I can, because I want to get this all decked out someday. Anyway, thank you for watching, and please leave a comment below, or you can find me on Twitter at @THE_SNICKMAN. See you again on Unsourced Wall, and hopefully in another video.